Hello everyone. Today's talk is titled Be Playful with the Intelligence of this World. And I would like to begin with saying that I don't know how many people have done this, but right now for inspiration, I have a crumbled dry leaf in my hand. And it's cut into two pieces, and I'm trying to put these two pieces back together, and I see they can't. And so, let Mr. Within begin. I would like to begin telling you some serious things. We're alive, we are all temporal beings, but we're also self-aware. And what that means is that regardless of the amount of time and space we can consider to be alive here, we are self-aware. And our self-awareness is present among life, nature. So there's trees, which is alive, there's plants, there's your pet, there's your family members. Then you begin to see there's other people, as if the same beauty that was in a tree, when you look at the human being as a being, just as a moment of manifestation in this life, it is a beautiful design, and it's a design that is holding a transcendental seat. It has a self-awareness. And so the self-awareness is actually how much throughout the moments of your life, in this walk from the cradle to the grave, you are beginning to see life is more than what you thought it was. Because thought is coming from an idea which never needed to be there, because your experience is always shifting. It is changing. And a being who understands infinite change realizes it wasn't about picking up notebooks and writing down instructions. Your briefings are coming from every moment you're alive. And when the breath of life is truly felt, you will inhale all forms of manifestation, and in an exhalation, let go of them to see that which you are. You become playful with this world, for this world has been playful with you. For how else would life survive if it was not in its design? And so man must not create a past to then hinder himself in his multidimensional landscape with many projections of that past. Man must begin with the clarity that is as simple and perhaps could be as dull as a rock. If you have the devotion of that rock who's standing still, you will see the devotion that has created the river and is allowing the river to pass between. Man must surrender to his greatest vision to then see, he can see beyond how he has approached his sight. What that means is mental circuitry should not be a nuisance. You must not be clumsy. The body should be in a healthy state. The mind must be open, and you must feel as if you're walking in a world where every step is a new renaissance. Because that means you must have such an openness and awareness to your present moment. And then novelty is how you are receiving everything that is around you. You begin to see that there were many ways of you. There were many ways you could see how you could be. And there are many ways you could be seen to be here as well. You begin to see that man must respect his existence. Be grateful for this identification in manifestation. We are life forms. We are alive. We are forms. You may think that your significance is coming from what you are calling, in other words, the name you're giving this life intelligence, and then the actions this life intelligence is doing and how it's being recognized. But there is something more here. There is a gift given, an opportunity to see what you are made of in this cosmos. Think of it this way. If you were a galaxy, it might be harder for you to see what you're made of. And so, could you be found at the edge of an eye of perhaps one of the smallest beings? No, to such galactic vision. Do you see how consciousness is playing with manifestation in how it's changing? Do you see this playfulness is the same playfulness that comes from the love that you have with the world you trust? Trust your world and you will love everything. Do not trust it and make people wrong and create walls when they don't need to be there, and you have limited the greatness of your communication in this world. For this world is not here. You are not here to define how you are. The world is the keeper of itself. Just like how man is the keeper of its body, which the cells are always worshipping. But the cells must not worship the body in a way where they're not doing their tasks. The imagery is not important, for the way you're interpreting is based on a certain range of definition. As you observe that certain range of definition, that limitation of thought in which you're considering yourself to be somebody in a certain way, you begin to see as an observer in this life, an experiential observer, you are seeing something that you're not. So you're not in that same locality. And my friend, when all location is meditated on, who looks through is an omniscience unspeakable, but poetically shapeable into the beauty of the greatest God, or the greatest theory, or the greatest earth, or the greatest seed planted for the evolution of man. It is you want to experience multidimensionality, you must take an existential responsibility where you are so selfless in how you are giving yourself to your day, that when a human being came and asked you for the world that you have seen, you would give it away. You would give it in an instant. You would give your knowing, your knowledge, everything to the moment that you are alive. For a man has a respect with self that another can never compromise. Basking in thought, candlelight always had its own purpose. Your limitation is a gift of simultaneous reality, because it is making you aware of how the limitless is always transcending. Remember, we are multidimensional beings because we are growing in the sense that our knowing is constantly learning from the unknown. Just as universes expand, so does the questions of man into why. Those who have deep vision realize it's never about depth. The ocean is deep. It's about why you're in it. It is about how much the drop can see the ocean in itself, and how much the ocean can see itself in the drop, as many poets have suggested. You're not alone, for the consciousness of man could never be. Be playful, for in your playfulness with the intelligence of this world, you are understanding your experience with a maturity that is coming from the silence and stillness of being. So before you seek answers in regards to, let's say, Google results and things that you can ask or think about, you realize there is an aspect of silence where self-talk is even quiet. And in that state of mind, you become a purity of your experience, where you see its transcendental quality was your own poetry of how you open to your infinite. I am simply a human being. These words are what I know. You know a lot as well. But you must observe this human communication. You must wonder of what the next step of transcendence is for this human experience. And it doesn't matter what image you are. Be a normal guy and walk into the chaos of this world and see what the order needs to be. Because trust me, Those beings who have brought the greatest contribution were pushed out of the comfort that was the illusion and were thrown in the wilderness of the truth, which is a breaking of illusion, which is a breaking of identity in a self that cannot see itself otherwise. Your intelligence, existential intelligence, holds a wisdom that no man could ever touch with his judgment. No form could touch with his judgment. You thought deities were beyond you. You are beyond you. The God you seek is within. And as you see what is within, there's nothing to see. There's nothing to say. You have found your peace. Your intuition is active in a way where you are trusting it in your own understanding, not in the understanding of someone else. What that means is, when I give these talks, guys, regardless of the beauty of the imagery of the landscape presented, it is important for you to get catalyzed into your own self-discovery and self-exploration. This concept must be introduced to every student of life, not every student of a teaching, not every student of a religion, school, science, or philosophy. We're not here to be segmented human beings to then wonder of where we came. We are here to experience our greatest unity, and even if that means to put away our ideas to see our absolute in the simplicity that is now. You know, there was a moment where there's an ant on my shoe right now as I'm saying this talk. And there would be a moment where these insects would come in, and they would, you know, insect would get on my shoe, and I would be like, whoa, and I would react, you know. But then afterwards, my reality changed. And it changed in a way where I realized my arrogance of doing things in the way I have been doing was not authentically me. Do not think you know yourself completely. You are a being who's growing. You may think this tree knows everything, is a know-it-all, and this tree is only it. But there's an intelligence to this world that is shifting. And as you recognize that, you gain the humility of not trying to interpret the unknown when you can't. You work with the presence of your moment. And so the ant on your shoe becomes the messenger. It becomes the sign of your greatest advancement. You see that ant choosing to come on your shoe when it could have chosen to be anywhere on the field is the blessing that your work is being done well. Because, trust me, as a human being, I've noticed, and you see in many movies, they show that CEO guy who's getting everything. He's got his financial game being played well. He has some establishment investments, and the guy is thinking, well, you see, the problem comes when the human being begins to research life by pushing life out of the picture. When science does not take natural inspiration into perspective, it is not listening to the divinity of the change that is happening in every moment. The unknown factor is you, and so it is you in which all theories of the universe have projected from. So the nature of projection is more crucial than the objects of identification and the treasures which you may find to devour, to then devour you. It is not a treasure to gain an image, because Da Vinci could give you one of his paintings. He'd be like, all right, man, you could go to Da Vinci and be like, Da Vinci, give me your painting, man, come on, give me a painting. And then Da Vinci would be like, all right, buddy, here, take this painting. And he'd give you the Mona Lisa or something, you know? Or he'd give you a blueprint or something, a crazy design. But he would stand there looking at you, and he'd see, okay, your enthusiasm wanted something you thought was useful for you, but are you ready to take it? Are you ready to hold the designer's brush? Are you ready to step into the greatest experiences of mankind? Are you ready to move beyond the academia that is making you a self that is not experiencing yourself to the fullest, because you are not a body with an objective view? You are an awareness of all bodies, and so is truth. You will trust life, And in doing so, you will have less of a need to shape yourself into an idea. Multidimensionality, in a sense, as Mr. Within has come here to say, is like the next stage in our exploration where ideas are unnecessary, where terminology is unnecessary, and it is the requirement of experience. It is the requirement of devotion. Do not get me wrong, guys. I have looked at language, I've looked at knowledge, and I have understood that if I had simply just an infinite notebook, I could live forever in my solitude. But I have noticed that there's more than just eating food in this world. There's more than just surviving in the fittest way. It's just like there's more. And you know why it's more? Because you look at your life and you sit down and you're just like, in one moment of sincerity, you're like, all right, I am the intelligence that is navigating this plane of existence. And it's as if you feel the pilot's hat on your head. You see that you are controlling your experience as a conscious being. And so there is no tutelage greater than an existential mirror. For the mirror of existence needed nothing else other than you to show you to yourself. For if I am isolated, if someone comes up to me and says, you are no longer allowed to be in this world, and pushes me into a cave, I will still smile as the happening of my moment has just got more exciting. And I would go into my solitude and I will step into my different visions. And life will, of course, carry on beyond. Physicality that could be in fact. You are not hindered by your lack, but you are just simply fine. Be generous to this life. Be generous to yourself. Be generous to others. Do not just help others without realizing that you are a human being too and you need a certain attention and care for yourself. And so be generous to all life forms and be generous to your moment of existence. The greatest teaching from all ancient wisdoms is that, dear being, be aware of your moment of being. If you are a human being, be aware of the human idea. If you are whatever being, be aware of the whatever first. For eternity cannot be found if you are lying to yourself that the temporal is all that you are. Because when I see that person who is saying there's only this idea and that person saying that there's only this idea, do you know, when I see an atheist and a religious person in communication, I see a lack of authenticity at work. I see a lack of proper acknowledgement at work. I see a lack of proper communication at work. And with all this lack working, there is no platform for truth. We must first enhance the sincerity, honesty of the human experience and its clarity. You seek clarity and you give clarity to others. What that means is you thought giving change to a homeless person was the greatest act you did throughout the day. No. Give kindness. Give all that you know. Give a love that is just giving what that person needs and filling their gap of limitation with a limitless possibility. We are working as presence here, and this presence has existential allowance and live in a way where your state of being is free, and then the rest is the stories of an imagination that was playing with the intelligence of this world. For as you are, you shall see the ways you can be. O blessed being, the moment is your only blessing. Much blessings and namaste.